string crossing in Minuet 3. We're going to be thinking about the levels that we're playing on. Very often when we play, we think of it being a single level. Here I am on the A string. Here I am on the D string. Here I am on the A string again. And if I lower my arm, I go to the E string. But actually, there are an infinite number of places that one can play on a string because the string is rounded. So if I'm playing on the E string and I'm going towards the A string, then rather than playing just merely on the E string in the middle, I'm thinking, let's say I'm going to go to E minus, which is closer to the A string, and then I'm going to touch onto A plus and then A. So I'll show you what I mean. So here's E, here's E minus, here's A plus, and here's A. And you can really play around with this, because if you imagine playing on the E string, you can see that I can move around that E string quite freely before I even touch the A string. So we're going to look at what we're doing when we play Minuet 3. And one of the important exercises is separating the right hand from the left hand. So we're looking at the right hand here. The right hand tends to do more than the left hand. The left hand maybe does vibrato, but basically changes the pitch of the note. Everything else is in the bow hand. All the expression, the sound quality, articulation, it's all coming into the rhythm. It's all about the bow. So on this first two bars, I'm playing A, D, A, D, D. And you'll see that the first A has to start to travel towards the D. So we have A, and it travels towards the D, so we're on A minus, and now we're on D plus because we're going back to the A. Now A minus, back to the D. So I'm trying to keep my bow very close to the point where I'm touching both strings. Very close. I'm playing around that area. So here we go. This is the first two bars. So it goes A, D, A, D, D. Ready, go. A, D, A, D. We'll do it one more time. Ready, go. Now we're going to do the next two bars, so bars 3 and 4. And this is going to go A, E, 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 D, D. So I'm using the impulse of that down bow to swing me over to the D string. So we try that again. So A, E, 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 D, D. Ready, go. A, E, 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 D, D. And again, ready, go. A, E, E, D, D. Now I can look at the next two bars. They go A, D. Ready, go. A, D. And again, ready, go. D. And now the last two bars of the second line. So we're looking at bar 7 and 8. D, D, A, D, A. So there's a lot of little string crossing here. When you're string crossing, it's almost like the bow is falling over to the new string and you're just catching it with your fingers. So if your fingers are nice and flexible, it makes your life much, much easier to control this bow. So D, D, A, D, A. Ready, go. Try it again. Ready, go. D, A, D. Do it one more time. Ready, go. D. So I'm going to play the whole of the first 2 lines now, just on the open strings. Starts on open A. Ready, go. So when I'm practicing, every time that I practice, I'm going to choose 2 bars, a 2-bar section, and I'm just going to do it for the open strings. You can choose different sections throughout this piece to practice that, and if you're not sure what strings are, work it out, write it on a piece of paper and just follow what you've written on the piece of paper.